Hey, this advice is going to be very useful, so listen up. Not even the best pro Fortnite player in the world right now gets or does everything right, so they could give you advice that's wrong. This is the same with every single human on the planet. So you need to remember to be extremely careful with every single piece of information that's given to you. But the good thing is, if you do listen to someone that's better than you or more successful than you, even though some of the advice they might give you isn't the best advice possible, if you listen to everything they say, usually on average that will be something on average that's better than what you're doing now. I just feel like a lot of people fall into this trap, or where they're like, oh, there's this guy that's a higher skill than me in something, so now everything they do or say to do should be the most optimal thing to do. Just like if you saw a pro doing build fights, for example, that doesn't mean that's what you should be doing, or that's what you should be doing for your skill, or what's the best thing you could be doing now to improve. Because everyone gets something wrong, or maybe someone's doing something that's useful for them but it won't be useful for you to do. But just a quick disclaimer, I'm not saying build fights are terrible for everyone in every single situation. I'm just using it as an example. I remember ages ago, you'll see pros in cash cup lobbies just keying everyone, dropping 20 bombs. You're like, oh well, I want to be like them, so I'm gonna copy them. But then if you're bad and you try to do that, you're going to die. So you need to be careful about just following every single thing people do, as well as if they just give advice you should do this to practice, you should do this to practice. The majority of things a pro does are probably going to be good, a good thing to do, and that's why they got good. But that doesn't mean everything they do is the perfect thing. They might do the main things, the main 4 things, whatever they are, perfectly right to go pro, but then they do a 5th thing that's kind of useless in their practice, and then they tell you to do that, which is what you think is going to make you good because a pro does it, but then you do it and it's just a waste of time. You just have to take all pieces of advice and information with a grain of salt, and just take time to process that information yourself and think, is it actually good, or is it just at least better than what I'm doing now? And yeah, this includes everything I say. This sounds kind of ridiculous, because obviously wouldn't I want you guys to believe everything I say? Otherwise maybe you think, oh, there's no point listening to them now. While with my videos, I'm always trying to strive to give you the best advice possible, or at least advice that I think is going to be better than what you're doing now. Even if that might not be the most optimal thing you could be doing, I'm just trying to give you information that'll make you go one step up and do something a bit better than you're doing now. But I know that I am human and I can get stuff wrong and give advice that isn't the best possible, or advice that's wrong. Every single human on this planet can and will give advice that's not the best thing you could do or is wrong. So what you got to do is first take in all the information as possible. I'm not saying to not listen to anyone. What I'm saying is you should listen to everything and all the advice people say so you can learn, but then you take in the information, then critically assess the information, and then think, is this probably some advice that will make me do something just better at least than what I'm doing now? Or is this information only going to be useful for someone else in their specific situation? Just think more before blindly listening to something, and think more for yourself.